Are you seeking security or freedom? This question was brought up a few weeks ago. I was reading a book. I believe it was by Robert Kiyosaki, who is the author of the Rich Dad, Poor Dad series and games. If you've never heard of him, go check him out. His stuff is amazing. I feel like I'm always having aha moments when it comes to like money and business and personal and professional development. But what he had said the other day is, are you seeking money? Are you seeking security or are you seeking freedom? And neither is right or wrong. You just have to figure out what your values are. What is it that you're seeking? What are you after? And for me, a few years ago, I was on a path of security. And this felt very restricted to me. I was in, a corporate 9 to 5, which isn't really a 9 to 5. It's like a 7 to 7. I felt like I was there all the time. And you get steady raises. You get paychecks on the regular. You get insurance. You get, all of these benefits, right? And you're seeking security. You know that you're going to get a paycheck on a certain day. You know you're going to do a certain thing at a certain time. You know you're going to get about a 2% raise. You know where life's going to look like in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Like you have everything mapped out. And to me, that did not feel very adventurous. Like to me, that felt like I was being chained down. Like I did not like that. And the higher I climbed in that corporate world, the more miserable I was. Like I was drifting farther and farther away from this person who I felt like I needed to become. And this whole journey really took a turn for the better when I found out that I was pregnant. And that was, 2-3 years ago now, with my first daughter, or with my daughter. And I had like a come into Jesus, it was like, man, is this what I want my life to look like? Do I want to be tied down to a job? Am I really looking for security? Is a 9 to 5 really meant for me? Is steady paychecks really for me? Is this environment really for me? And the more I started to ask myself these questions, the more I started to say, no, man, this does not feel good. Like I need opportunity. I need adventure. I need challenges. I need freedom. Like the word I always kept coming back to was freedom. Like I am naturally a risk taker. You throw something at me, I'm like, fuck it. Let's do it. And I found that I was starting to lose that side of myself the higher I climbed the corporate ladder. And while some people are seeking security, I was not one of those people. Everything about security felt very restrictive to me. It felt literally like you threw me back in jail. And I was just not happy with it. It was making me bitter. It was making me angry. I was to the point where I was just like, I wasn't myself at all. Like mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, all of these things, I felt drained. I felt trapped. I felt like I was running out of oxygen. I felt like time was running out. I was only like 27 years old, 28 years old maybe. And I felt like I was running out of time. I just felt like I was dying on the inside. And so I just kept asking the question, like, there's got to be more. What's my next step? This can't be it. And so then we, as a family, decided that we wanted to try for kids, and right away got pregnant, which I, for whatever reason, was really scared to tell people in the beginning because I know so many people struggle with getting pregnant or having children that I almost felt like shame around being able to get pregnant right away. So I didn't even talk about it. And then when I was in the corporate world, I was up for another promotion and I was scared to tell anybody I was pregnant till I was like 18 weeks along, 20 weeks along before I even told anybody because I thought that I would lose my job. I thought they would fire me. I thought that I would not get this upper management position had they known that I was going to need to take time off, right? That I was vulnerable, that I was a woman, that I could actually like grow a child. And so my mind was so fucked up in the way that it was thinking. And so I just kept following this path based on what everybody else wanted for me. And again, I felt like I was running out of air. I was running out of time. And I no longer wanted this secure feeling. Like security to me in that sense felt awful. It did not feel good. I just felt like a caged animal. And the only thing that I kept thinking was, you got to go through this shit, Sausha. You are after freedom, financial freedom, emotional freedom, physical freedom, like all of these things. Like I was tied down by my limiting beliefs, by my debt, by my job. Like all of these things were like weights on my feet. And I felt like I was sinking into like a deep, dark ocean. And no matter how hard I swam, I was never going to come up for air. And then I was just going to sink down into this pit and be forgotten, like so many people do in this world. They fall into this rat race where they're not really doing what their sole purpose is or what they feel is in alignment. And hell, like I didn't even know what alignment was. Like people kept talking about like purpose and alignment and all of these things. And I'm like, what is that? I want that. All I knew is that I wanted freedom. Like that's the only word that kept coming to my mind was freedom, freedom, freedom. And so when I heard this security versus freedom the other day, I was like, this is it. This is it. This was the fork in the road for me. This was my big aha moment. In order to have the freedom, I had to do the work. I had to go through the shit. I had to find a way to get to the other side. I had put myself in such a secure position that like freedom, while I wanted it, terrified me. Letting go of that secure job, that secure paycheck, or like putting yourself out there, being vulnerable, asking for sales, helping others, become their best self, helping others, live their best life and increase their business sales and their revenue. And it terrified me. It really did. And it kept me small for quite a while until I got out of my shell and I was like, you know what? I've come so far and I can only go this far without help. And that was like the most vulnerable part for me, was asking for help. That was absolutely the number one hardest thing that I have probably ever done, most uncomfortable thing that I have ever done in my life. And that was admitting not only to myself, but to others that I needed help. I could not move the needle forward by myself anymore. And so I started searching. I was like, hey, what do moms who have their shit together, what do they do? What do these people do that have these successful businesses? What do people do when they leave their corporate jobs? What do people do when they get up in the morning? What do people do when they go to bed in the evening? What do these people do and how do they do it? And I'm not kidding you. Every book I read, every podcast I listened to, every book I listened to, every online course I took, they all asked for help. And it didn't click to me that each and every time that I listened to a book, I was asking for help. I was looking for help. Every time I listened to a podcast, I was looking for help. Every time I signed up for a course, signed up for a gym, signed up for a race, I was pushing myself and I was seeking something and I was looking for help to improve myself in one area or another of my life. I didn't see it as asking for help. I just thought, I'm going to do it all on my own. But seeking outside sources is a form of asking for help within itself. Now, when you take that to the next level and actually ask another human to help you, is a whole nother story. Right? Because I didn't recognize that I needed help in the beginning, I mean, I knew I needed help, but I refused to see it. I kept telling myself, you can do it. You can do it. You're strong. You're tough. You're smart. You've done this. You've made it through worse. You can do this. Yeah, I probably could. But I got to a point where I felt like I was running out of time. And I was so tired of being stuck and looking at my life year to year to year and not seeing a whole lot of changes. Yes, I was making more money. Yes, I was checking boxes, but I wasn't any happier. I was getting less and less happy. I was becoming less and less fulfilled. The more I checked these boxes that weren't even my boxes to check. Reality check. What do you want? What makes you feel good? Don't worry about what Susie Q thinks or what your boss thinks or what your brother-in-law thinks. What do you want? What do you want? And as soon as you ask yourself that question, if you're anything like me, your brain is going to come up with 1,000,001 reasons why you can't do that right now. All of the excuses start coming in. Not enough time, not enough money, nobody cares. What if people judge me? Nobody's ever done this before. There's not enough clients. Can I really make money doing this? Can I really become a healthier, better version of myself? Can I really raise these kids to become great adults? Whatever it is, you start doubting yourself immediately. The fear starts setting in, the anxiety starts setting in, and you start to spiral. And half the time you don't even realize that you're starting to spiral. Half the time you don't even realize what limiting beliefs you have until they're brought to your attention. I like to think of this as you write down all of the solutions to your problem on a piece of paper, right? Somebody writes down all of the solutions for every one of your problems on a piece of paper. And I hand that piece of paper to you and I say, put this piece of paper on your face. Okay. So you put the piece of paper on your face and I say, read that to me. And you're like, I can't. I'm like, okay, how come? I'm too close. You're right. You are. You're too close to the problem. Sometimes you need to take a step back and have somebody else show you step by step what the solution could be, what your options are. Help bring some awareness to the surface on like, hey, you can do this. This person did it. This person did it. This person did it. I did it. Let me help you. Let me help you. And all you have to do is say, okay, let's do this. And you'll have to invest time or money or energy or however that looks. You will have to invest something within yourself invest into your future. What are you going to commit? You have to commit the time and you have to commit the energy. And sometimes that energy is effort. Sometimes that energy is money. It just depends on how you look at it. You know, I had a very lack money mindset a few years ago. I felt icky having money in my account. I had debt up the wazoo. I lived on credit cards and it was awful. And I just felt like I couldn't get out of this self-sabotage. Like anytime I made more money, I spent more money. I didn't know how to be responsible with money. You know, anytime I literally got money, I felt like I had to spend it or give it away. It was like the craziest phenomenon, but it comes from a deeper belief that I was not worthy. There's a whole belief system attached to how you feel and think and behave about money. I was so shell-shocked when I first started talking about money and programs and investing in myself and like getting outside the box. And there's so many things that I had never even thought of trying until I took that big scary step and asked for help. And then they made it seem so easy. Like, oh, why don't you try this? Or why don't you do this? Because I was too close to the problem. I couldn't see the solution. I was too damn close. And so I had to have somebody help me. Was it always easy to do the things? Absolutely not. All that shit was super hard. The inner work is super hard. I could physically put myself through some hell of a lot of pain. But you talk about the emotional pain, overcoming your past and recognizing it for what it is and using it as fuel to project you into your future, and then overcoming the future limiting beliefs that you have on yourself based around, you know, whatever history has told you or whatever programs you have in your head. Rewiring your brain is hard. It is hard. Is it simple? Yes. The steps to do are simple. If this makes sense, they're simple steps to do, but the act within doing it is hard. It is hard. And there is beauty in there's magic in having a community and a mentor and people who will push you and help you up level. And I was just talking to a woman earlier today. When you feel vulnerable in the right situation, being vulnerable can be easy. So for example, vulnerable in the wrong situation would be you naked on a stage in front of 1,000 people who are all fully clothed wearing parkas, right? They're all covered up. They're not showing anything. And there you are on stage, bearing it all. And those people in the crowd usually point and laugh, or they say, oh, look at the naked girl. Look at her trying to be brave. Look at her trying to do whatever, right? But if you are naked in a group of 30 other women who are also naked and you're all standing in a circle together saying, oh, well, she's naked. Okay, she's naked. Okay, I'm naked. We're all naked here together. This is a safe place. This is a place where I can be vulnerable and be naked and show my flaws and show who I really want to be, who I really am, and not feel judged because everybody else is doing the same thing. Does this make sense? Do you feel like you're naked on a stage right now, or do you feel like you're naked in a group of other people who can accept you for who you are? And I don't mean like those people who want to mother you, because there's nothing worse to me personally than when somebody's like, oh, wham, poor me, let me help you. Oh, you should do this, and you should do this, and you should do this. And it's like, get off my ass. I just want you to hold space for me and give me a little guidance. I don't want you to mother me. And I had this conversation with another gal this morning about being mothered. And it was funny when she was telling me about this, because it just brings me back, because I hate being mothered. I want you to give it to me straight. I want you to hold space for me. I want you to tell me a few things, and then I want you to let me figure it out on my own. Or I just want to tell you what I'm going through and then have you tell me that that's okay. Sometimes life can be hard, and it's okay. It's okay to feel down and get right back up. It's okay. You don't have to be fixed all the time. There's nothing wrong with you. You're perfect just the way you are. You're just trying to be a little bit better. You don't want anybody to come to the rescue. You got this. You're a powerful woman. You've done tons of shit in your life. This is just the next step. And you don't need somebody to wham, pour me, cry me a river. You just want to get shit done. So, are you seeking security? Or are you seeking freedom? Sit with that. There is no right or wrong. Don't let my story persuade you one way or another. But I do know that many of you listening to this are seeking freedom. You're seeking a deeper purpose. You feel chained down. You feel trapped. You feel like you've lost your adventure. You feel like you've lost yourself. And you're like, how do I get this person back? How do I get this risk taker back? How can I get this confident badass back and into this womanhood? And that's where somebody like me steps in. And I say, come on, lady, let's do this. Will it be easy? No. No, it won't. Will you be a hell of a lot happier when we're done? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You will have such a magical transformation. And I use the word magical because a lot of times I can't even describe what really happens within the coaching mastery, within the mastery program. But it's magic. And the transformation from where you start to where you end is phenomenal. You have literally stepped into who you are supposed to be. You have started your next journey in life. And it will just light a fire under your ass to keep going and let you know that you can do hard things. You can overcome these limiting beliefs. And then guess what? You can teach other people to do the same. It's a ripple effect. Somebody teaches me, I teach you, you teach others. We teach the world. We help each other. There's enough for everybody. That's one of the reasons why I started this podcast. I felt called to share these things with you. There was so much that was in inside me that I'm like, I have to tell people these things. I have to share these stories. I have to share these tips. I have to share this knowledge with everybody. Everybody should know these things. And so that's why I'm here sharing this with you. And so again, I want you to sit with this and see what feels good. Write it down. What does security mean to you? What does freedom mean to you? What one feels better? What one feels restrictive? What one gives you peace? Which one gives you anxiety? Where do you want to look? Where do you want to be in 5 years? Where do you want to be in 10 years? Are you on that path right now? And if your answer is no, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? So sit with that. Are you seeking security? Or are you seeking freedom? And if you feel called to ask for help, if you're like, oh shit, she's talking to me. I am. And I'm here for you. So I want to hear from you. Head over to sashadavis.com/apply now. Let's just have a conversation. Fill out that form. Let's have a conversation. That's all it is. I will point you in the right direction, whether it be with me or somebody else. Just know that I will support you. I want you to step into your power and become that person that you know deep down, that's who you're meant to be. All right, ladies, go out there, be a badass, conquer the world. I'll catch you on the flip side.